If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
The date, May 20th. The time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Matt, I have the Dodgers game on here in studio. And Dodgers analyst Jerry Hairston Jr. says, quote, tonight is a must-win for the Los Angeles Dodgers at 29-19.
It's a must-win if I'm going to hit this parlay. I parlayed the Rockies and the Dodgers. I took a shot. You know, I mentioned this game in the morning show with Jensen Lewis, very good baseball handicapper. And Jensen fires all over the board. And I said, you got to be careful with the Dodgers right now because they're playing bad baseball. Their pitching's really thin. They have a lot of injuries. You have several guys in the lineup who are not hitting. But tonight, you would think Yamamoto is going to be the streak stopper. And if you look at the pitching matchup, Nelson against Yamamoto, clear advantage for the Dodgers tonight. They've lost 4 in a row. They lost 3 to the Angels over the weekend. Got pounded early by the D-backs last night. And I would think that the Dodgers do stop this losing skid. It's ridiculous to say it's a must-win in May in baseball.
You're in first place.
It's not a must-win.
29-19.
But the Dodgers, at some point, need to start playing better baseball after losing 4 in a row. And I think Yamamoto gives them a good shot to stop that losing streak tonight at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers minus 218 here at Circa, total of 9. And the line's as high as minus 238 at DraftKings.
Matt, what do you think about...
A little bit better number here at Circa. And Tim, by the way, look behind you. Last night, there was a ghost town here in the sports book.
Oh, it's pumping.
Tonight, we've got a pretty good crowd in here tonight for the T-Wolves and the Thunder and all the baseball games. And we do have a final in New York, by the way, during the commercial break. The Luke Weaver and the Yankees did close it out 5-2, Yankees over the Rangers.
I have gone in, Matt. DraftKings has dropped their money line to minus 145 tonight for the Thunder to make the comeback here. Okay. So I'm in. I am going to take the Diamondbacks, the Thunder to come back and win. And I will take it at minus 145, Matt. That is the price that I will lay. And I'm sure I'll be tweeting like Chris Massaro if SGA continues to shoot the way that he has so far here in this spot.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander had a poor first half. You said 2 for 13 from the field.
Yep.
11 points. He made some hay at the free throw line, but careless turnovers and really a sloppy first half all around, including for the MVP favorite, SGA. That's the guy, Tim, if you're going to win your bet here in the second half, it's obvious analysis, but if OKC is going to come back and win this game, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is going to have to be the guy who plays much better than he did in the first half.
Yep. All right, we are underway second half, and the Thunder and Minnesota Timberwolves are just underway, and the T-Wolves, once again, leading by 4. And right now, as I look at the live line, something negative is going to happen because the money line is down to minus 130, Matt. So I missed out on the best number as I took the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I'll tell you what.
Their offense, man, is just shaky at times.
You have to give some credit to Minnesota for the way the T-Wolves defend. But this half-court offense for OKC has really bothered me in the playoffs. It's hard to watch. You got a young coach over here who's not really making any adjustments and what's going on in the half-court. Tim, that possession was pathetic. That first possession of the second half.
It was not great. Matt, while we have time, of course, tomorrow night, it will be you and I will be off. I believe Scott Seidenberg will be sitting in here on primetime, and I'm sure he'll be all fired up for his New York Knicks. Let's take a look at this series a little bit. Game 1, the Knicks. Man, I'll tell you what, Paul Bovey, if you missed it, that man confident in his Knickerbockers, huh?
So it's going to be quick.
Little homerism.
And he's all Knicks. Did he say Knicks in 5 or 6?
I don't know if he gave an official projection.
He says it's going to be quick.
I was trying to see.
He says it's going to be quick. That means 5.
Yeah,
right?
That would not be good. I would not enjoy that, Paul.
I do have, and Tim, you and I have a couple common bets here. Knicks Pacers series over 5.5 games at -170. I've got the Knicks in 7 at 4-1 odds, and I also bet the Knicks in the series. So the Knicks in the series right now at DraftKings -145. So I've got 3 bets here, 2 of them being on a long series, at least 6 games, or the Knicks in 7. I also just have the Knicks to win the series. Did you bet the Knicks just to win it or no?
I did not mess with this series as of yet. Just from this standpoint, I have the bet over 5.5 games, which is still available at -170 at DraftKings. I'll be honest, Matt, I don't have a great feel on this series right now. I think for me, I want to play it game by game. I know you have a little bit more confidence in the Knicks to win this series. That's probably the way I'm leaning at this point in time. But, I got to give the Pacers credit. And I mentioned it before. I think Rick Carlisle is the best coach remaining in these NBA playoffs. Now, does that mean ultimately that they're going to win because of coaching? No. But at the end of the day, I think this is a series that's destined for 6 or 7 games, and that's why I played the bet that I played over 5.5 games there at DraftKings. Rudy Gobert, man, whoo, buddy. Sometimes you watch his offense and you just scratch your head. It looked like he had a pretty decent path at a dunk there, Matt, and instead he threw the ball away, and the Oklahoma City Thunder has now taken the lead, 49-48. They're out to a -215 favorite on the money line, but the T-Wolves are going to respond here on this possession. I think this one's going to be a sweat the whole way through for this money line in-game play. I think the T-Wolves are going to continue to fight, and this OKC offense, as we've discussed, can be maddening at times.
I would say the most likely result right now would be Thunder are going to win the game but not cover the 7.5 tonight. But every time, what I enjoy here is every time the Thunder score, you see a bunch of people dressed in the same shirt jumping up and cheering, and some people have cowbells too. OKC crowd's really getting into the game. The game's tied at 50 right now, 2 minutes into the third quarter. OKC a 4.5-point favorite. -215 now on the money line. What was the price you laid? 145?
-145.
51.50 Thunder. Total 195.5. That's where the betting market got it wrong tonight. There's a lot of money over the total.
Yep.
Money shifted this
6
number
points,
up.
Matt.
6-point move to the over, and this game has been a dead under pretty much from the beginning.
Now, your worst case scenario would be overtime, which is certainly possible. Which is certainly possible there. Matt, I'm going to ask you a question. A man who knows a thing or two about fast food restaurants, and I'm not saying this is a fast food restaurant, how many Loves have you been to in your life? That is the advertisement on the Oklahoma City Thunder jersey there.
I stopped at that place once in, I think, Texas.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have them here, Tim.
They got one, I think, way up north of town. If you're going on your way to Utah, I think there's a Love's there. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's on the I-15 north.
Yeah.
Outside it, there is one. You know what? Now that you bring it up, I was just at one last week. I was there I stopped there to get gas when I went up to Coyote Springs to play golf. I forgot what that was.
My cross country road trip.
They sell fried chicken, right?
They do. Yeah, they sell decent food.
Yeah.
My cross country road trip last summer was sponsored by Love's because I had the dog in the cars and they got a little dog park. So here's a little love for Love's.
SGA with a little fadeaway jumper there, so maybe he'll get him going here in the second half. Thunder on top of the T-Wolves, 54-52. How about that money line now up to -230?
All right, closing line value. That's all I ask for in life. Knicks and Pacers, Matt, 4.5 is the number for tomorrow. Total 224. As mentioned, you've made a couple of pre-series bets. I have as well. As of right now, anything you're initially looking at to attack for game one?
Not really. Like I said, I don't like to bet game ones in a series. I feel like you have more of an edge when you wait and bet game two. You watch, the situation sets up a little better for one side or the other in game two. So I typically don't bet many game ones of the series, not tomorrow night. If you force me to bet it, I'd probably take the Pacers plus 4.5. But that's just because I've got so much riding on the Knicks. And I don't really trust the Knicks laying that type of number tomorrow night. I did trust them in Game 6 against the Celtics team. It was shorthanded without Jason Tatum. But the Pacers are rested. They're going to come in there firing tomorrow night. They're going to have plenty of confidence, too, because they won that Game 7 against the Knicks last year. I know it's two different teams, different personnel. Knicks were all banged up last year. That's why I think the Knicks win the series. I just don't have a ton of confidence that they're going to come out and blow the doors off the Pacers in Game 1. We could see a very similar game to what we're watching tonight, Tim, where the home favorite's struggling, and that's what we're seeing with the Thunder.
All right, we're about to get underway in a must-win spot, according to Jerry Hairston Jr., for the Los Angeles Dodgers as they take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. We are underway, top of the first inning.
Do you think there are any must-wins in baseball in May?
No. I remember, living in D.C., and we were new to winning with the Nationals, and they had a rough spot in, 12 or 13, something like that, the years that they won the NL East. And I remember a radio host be like, is this a must-win spot? I'm like, dude, it's May. I'm like, I get it. You're used to football in this town, but it's not the way it works. Isaiah Hartenstein with the floater in the lane. So a 2-point lead right now for the Oklahoma City Thunder. One of the matchups we were curious about tonight, Matt, the Tigers were a -70 favorite on the road at St. Louis, and you were fortunate to get out of there with a victory. Tarek Skubal did get banged up a little bit just for his standards. He gave up 3 runs on 5 hits and 5 2/3, did strike out 8, but the Tigers score a run in the 9th. Anthony Edwards, Matt, just burying a 3 to give the lead back to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
T-Wolves now up 4, 60-56, so back-to-back threes for Minnesota to take the lead after
and guess what, Matt?
What happened?
That number that I bet, -145, it is back, baby. It was up to -270 just a moment ago.
That's how quickly these things swing, man. You can go from the Thunder being -250 to the Thunder being -110 in the span of about 2 minutes on the game clock.
If you want to bet some horses, how about you check out firstbet.com, the number one stbet.com. Use the promo code VSiN200, and you'll claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days, up to $200.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Busy night. Alongside Matt Youmans, I'm Tim Murray. Third quarter underway, and just when you thought maybe the Thunder are going to make this thing I don't want to say easy night, but take the lead, go out to a -270 favorite, Matt. Back-to-back threes for the T-Wolves, giving them a 4-point lead. And that money line that felt good for a moment is now back to -140. But the Thunder cut the deficit down to 2. And I'll tell you what, Matt, this is going to be a ride all the way to the finish line, I would say. 60-58 the score. Jalen Williams, 11 points here tonight for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Underway, Matt, at Chavez Ravine. Will the Dodgers snap their 4-game losing streak as we are in the top of the first inning there in Los Angeles?
Tell you what, that strategy our friend had of betting the Dodgers on the run line every night has been a rough one for the past week or so. They did blow out the A's last week. I feel like the Dodgers skid started when the position player for the A's struck out Shohei Ohtani. It's been all downhill since position player came in for the A's and struck out Ohtani.
Was that his bobblehead night too?
It was.
That was the night he had 2 homers. Yeah.
Then he got struck out by the position player late in the game, and the Dodgers have not been the same since. Anyway, let's talk some football here for a few minutes.
Let's do that. So I did the podcast earlier today, the VSiN College Football Betting Podcast. Talked to Bruce Feldman from The Athletic. He's got a column up right now looking at his favorite win totals, Matt. But I opened the show with discussing Carson Beck. Because Carson Beck a year ago, Matt, 11 months ago, Carson Beck was 3-1 to be the NFL draft's first pick.
Yeah, but that was ridiculous. And JVT and I talked about that on the show last year. I think maybe you and I did too. I laughed at that. That was a joke. Carson Beck, I never thought the guy was even going to be a first-round pick, okay?
He was 9-1 to win the Heisman. That was last year. Right now, Matt, 35-1 to be the first overall pick and 25-1 to win the Heisman. And a big question about Carson Beck headed to Miami, big old NIL bag, is the elbow. He had Tommy John surgery, and this is a small clip of Mario Cristobal with Josh Pate of CBS discussing the health status of his starting quarterback.
Well, the first part that's really encouraging for us, he's almost at 100%, and I'm talking about maybe a week away from being there. I mean, he's been throwing for weeks now. He joins our team on Sunday, and everything is full throttle. There is no limitations for him, and he looks great.
So, take it for what you will. It's a coach. All coaches are liars. They're all kind of politicians, but he's telling you right now that he is healthy. And I also thought this was interesting, Matt, because David Hale today over at ESPN.com put together his quarterback tiers. Mm-hmm. And he said, here are a comparison. QB-A, 82.3 QBR, 28 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 64.7 completion percentage. QB-B, 79.1 QBR, 29 touchdown passes, 12 interceptions, 64.2 completion percentage. QB-A, with the better QBR, Carson Beck a year ago. QB-B, Garrett Nussmeier a year ago. Mm-hmm. Very comparable numbers, but the discussion is that Beck sucked last year and that Garrett Nussmeier's on the rise and is going to be phenomenal this year. But if you just look at the pure stats, very, very comparable, Beck versus Nussmeier.
Yeah, I didn't think the stats for either quarterback you mentioned were that great. The interception numbers were a little bit too high for both guys, but I never said Carson Beck sucked last year. I said he wasn't.
I think I would say disappointing.
It was disappointing. He didn't play up to the hype, and when you're surrounded by that much talent on a Georgia football team, it's kind of like Brock Purdy in the situation he's in with the 49ers. You're surrounded by that much talent. You've got to elevate your play. And
I was kind of underwhelmed, though, by Georgia's wide receivers a year ago. The running backs were good. The defense was phenomenal, and you saw that.
LSU's definitely got better wide receivers.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So you should see much better from Nussmeier.
And also, if you watched the games, Carson Beck, first of all, you can look at the stats on paper. Sometimes the stats do lie a little bit, especially completion percentage, with a lot of completions behind the line of scrimmage or within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. But if you watch Carson Beck in all those games, he didn't blow you away, Tim. He wasn't making big plays. He wasn't making really big-time throws. I think the Mississippi game was one of his worst games, right? Mm-hmm. And Georgia's loss at Ole Miss. Go back to games like that. I'm not saying Carson Beck is bad. JVT and I had this debate. We had a bet, actually. John said he was going to be a first-round pick, and I said, I'll take that all day. How much you want to bet on it? Carson Beck's not going to be a first-round pick. Well, he wasn't, but Beck got disqualified because he returned to school. So JVT got off the hook. He didn't lose the bet. That was going to be a losing bet. Beck, I never thought was going to be a first-rounder. I've always kind of projected him as like maybe a second-round pick, probably a third, fourth-round type of guy, probably a third-round type of quarterback. That's where Dylan Gabriel went to the Browns, right?
Third-round pick.
So Carson Beck, I think, projects as a third-round type of guy. You know what's interesting is that Quinn Ewers put up some pretty good numbers last year, and he's won some big games the last couple of years, and he was a seventh-round pick.
The thing about Miami that
you looked at Ewers' stats and compared them to those two quarterbacks. Ewers is clearly better numbers than the two Nussmeier and Carson Beck.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But I'm not a big Quinn Ewers fan either, and that's what I said. sometimes stats with college quarterbacks can be a little bit misleading.
Definitely, with the offenses that they're in. Ewers last year, actually very comparable, believe it or not. 12 interceptions, 31 touchdowns, 65.8% completion percentage. So really, all three of them had very comparable stats. Quinn Ewers threw a couple more touchdowns. I'll just say this about Miami and Carson Beck, and maybe this is the already the eternal negativity coming out because they open the season, Miami does, at home against Notre Dame, but I feel like Miami, the win total would tell you that people aren't sleeping on them. 9.5, 9, depending on where you look. I think it's juiced under at DraftKings at 9.5, 9 minus 10 both ways here at Circa, Matt. But it does feel like to me, and maybe the summer months will change it, but it felt like there was this big push for Carson Beck last year because Georgia was the best team in the country, and he's the quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs. It just feels like people have kind of quieted on Carson Beck. Understandably so, but when you look at some of the numbers that are out there, he wasn't dreadful. To your point, I think disappointing is a fair way to look at it, but they've got good weapons at Miami. The schedule is challenging. You've got Notre Dame and Florida in the non-con. You also have no Clemson, but you have to go to SMU, which will be a challenge. You host Louisville. So it will be a challenging season, but the one thing Mario Cristobal does do well, and it's not in-game coaching because he's terrible at that, it's recruiting. And they've got really good offensive and defensive lines. There's a reason they're only a 2.5-point dog against Notre Dame in week number 1, and I wouldn't be surprised if that number moves a little bit towards the Canes as we get closer and closer to Labor Day weekend.
Miami, Florida's got a favorable schedule.
Yes.
Some tough games, but the tough games come at home. Notre Dame, Florida at home, Louisville at home. It's not that difficult. You have Florida State on the road, but look, Seminoles are not what they've been. They've slipped quite a bit. You finish with road games at Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh. Schedule sets up really well for Miami, a team that went 10-3 last season. My problem is I'm not a Carson Beck guy. I'm definitely not a Mario Cristobal guy.
No.
He can coach his way to 2 losses.
Last year, Matt.
The team should win on that schedule.
They lost to Syracuse.
I know.
All they had to do was beat Syracuse on the road with the Heisman Trophy winner and the not the Heisman Trophy winner, with the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward, and they couldn't do it.
I know.
Their defense was putrid.
That's why I'm not buying into Miami. But you look at the schedule, I'm not going to blame Chris Felica, who loves his Hurricanes. I'm not going to blame anyone if they do buy into Miami because the schedule sets up really well. And, hey, Notre Dame, I'd like to sit here and make a strong case for Notre Dame in that season opener, but the Irish are going to be breaking in new quarterbacks.
They are.
And you got a lot of new pieces on that Notre Dame team. Hey, quick update here before the end of the hour. 10-0 run by the OKC Thunder. Tim, look at this live number. Thunder now 7.5-point favorites and minus 375. How quickly do things change?
You're getting close to getting that number that you were hoping for. And is this the spot to jump in on the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Still got 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, and we're back to where we started basically pregame. Not the total, though. Total's dropped about 20 points.
Yeah, that total is way down right now. So a 10-0 run for the Thunder. They lead 66-60. 375 is where we are on the money line right now. Quick update from the NHL. The Florida Panthers, Matt, they are a minus. How many zeros is that? That's a lot of zeros. Minus 100,000 on the money line right now. They're up 4-1, and the Florida Panthers, folks, are going to lead that series 1-0.
Keep picking against the Panthers, Tim. Keep picking against the Panthers.
I don't even know where that came from.
Huh?
I don't know where that came. I picked them tonight.
Keep picking against the Panthers.
All right, just a reminder, folks, VSiN.com. Matt Youmans has put together this great deal for you. You get 2 free months in addition to $40 off the monthly or the yearly price. It's less than 50 cents a day. $199, 14 months. Use the promo code PRO, VSiN.com/subscribe.
That's not all you get. You get more. I'll tell you after the break what else you get.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
3 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Oklahoma City Thunder with a 4-point lead over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Your live total continues to drop, Matt. It is at 194.5. Money line on OKC is minus 375. This has been a strong quarter for the Oklahoma City Thunder as they get a pull-up jumper, and they are going to continue to extend this lead.
The guarantee comes in, Tim.
Yes.
I guaranteed if you live bet, if you wait on live betting, you'd get better number than 7 or 7.5 on the T-Wolves. You can now get 8.5. It took a long time to get there, but 71-62 is now the lead for OKC, and the live number is now 9.5. So there you go, up almost to double digits. The money line on OKC, you did get the best of it. At minus 145, it's now minus 720.
73-62. It's now a double-digit spread, or was for just a moment. Minus 850. The Oklahoma City Thunder, Matt, have dominated this third quarter. It has been all Thunder. And I think the quote from you was, at halftime, shouldn't the T-Wolves be up by more? They were only up 4.
Only up 4.
Now it's 29-14. Third quarter, the Thunder have outscored the T-Wolves, and the depth of this Thunder squad is coming to show. Has Kenrich Williams, who had that on their bingo card, 5 points. He's been playing very good defense here tonight, and he is a plus 13. Cason Wallace played 23 minutes off the bench, not lighting it up from a scoring standpoint, Matt, but 4 assists, plus 17. Cason Wallace has the best plus-minus tonight out there. An 11-point lead for the Oklahoma City Thunder with 1:31 to go in the third
Well, if you
quarter.
look at the box here for the T-Wolves, you got 2 players showing up tonight. Julius Randle, obvious, 5 for 6 from 3, 20 points, and Anthony Edwards, who's got 3 threes and 18 points. Tim, no other player for Minnesota has scored more than 7, and the 3-point shooting has really cooled off. Right now, T-Wolves are 13 for 40 from 3.
We just talked a little Miami, and don't twist our words here. I was just talking about Miami, saying that Carson Beck might be a little bit undervalued heading into this year compared to the hype heading into last season. And Aman Ja on Twitter says, don't ever forget the bozo down in Miami ran plays with the intention to gain yards instead of taking a snap and sitting down. Yes, the Georgia Tech meltdown all-timer by the bozo, a.k.a. Mario Cristobal.
He is a bozo. That's a good word for Cristobal and Cristobozo.
Ooh, I like that.
This guy also did something very similarly stupid against Stanford when he was the Oregon coach. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's why I said I'm not betting Miami over the win total. I don't believe in the coach. I think he can coach his team to 2 losses in games that they should definitely win. And that's why I typically think the Hurricanes are going to be underachievers or under on the win total. But, man, you look at that schedule, and the schedule does set up well for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, they came to play week 1 last year, and, Florida ultimately was a team that played much better as the season went on. I'm just looking back at some of my bets here, Matt, on Miami. So I took week 5. All right, we'll be honest. Week 1, I took Florida. Dead wrong. Week 5, Virginia Tech plus 17.5. Game ended on Hail Mary, which actually Virginia Tech probably should have won the game. Cal plus 10.5. Cal should have won the game.
Cal got screwed by the officials.
39-38 was the final score
Cal
there.
Cal should have won that. Wasn't Cal up like 35 to 10 or something like that?
Just meltdown. Was on the wrong side of Louisville, Miami. I think you and I both had Louisville in that spot, plus 20.5. I actually laid it with Miami, and I got very lucky against Duke. And then Georgia Tech plus 10.
All right.
Outright winner. So, yes, I will be definitely finding my spots. I don't know if it's week 1, though. I think they'll be ready to go. And I'll say this, 2017, Notre Dame went down to Hard Rock Stadium or whatever the hell it was called then, and it was a raucous environment. Mark Richt's squad obliterated Notre Dame 41-8 back in 2017. All right, quick update from the ice mat. All Panthers all the time, 4-1 the score. And we are on total watch here. Total was 5.5. 76-65, 29 seconds to go, Matt, in the third quarter right now. Oklahoma City with that 11-point lead, minus 950 right now on the money line.
Let's talk some football here in the final 5 minutes because we've in the last 2 days here, we've hit these Warren Sharp clips talking about scheduling issues with the Lions, the 49ers, the Cowboys, and Tim, we have one team left here.
Let's talk a little Washington Commanders. 12 wins a year ago, Matt. Their win total was 6.5. They won it. Jaden Daniels, Offensive Rookie of the Year, got to the NFC Championship for the first time since 1991. And now, boy, oh boy, does the NFL love them some Washington. 5 primetime games, 8 standalone games. Here's Warren Sharp on the Washington Commanders schedule in 2025. Before I let you run, Warren, I'm from the D.C. area. You are as well. And Washington has a unique schedule this year. 8 standalone games for the first time in their franchise's history. What jumped out to you about Washington's schedule fresh off of a 12-5 season?
Yeah, so they have a schedule that I think is fairly manageable from a strength perspective. They play the 19th easiest schedule. So when you're looking at strength of schedule based upon who your opponents are, it only really matters, are you playing a bottom 10 or a top 10 schedule? The teams in the middle there, it's going to fluctuate so much. It's probably not going to be that relevant to discuss at this point in the season. But the interesting part about the Commanders schedule is this, Tim. From a net rest perspective, they're the third worst. They have minus 13 days of net rest, which is obviously a bad thing. Being bad at the bottom of this list is not good. But one thing that's interesting is that they play 3 games against teams that are off of bye weeks. Week 6, Chicago is off of a Week 5 bye. Week 9, Seattle is off of a Week 8 bye. And Week 15, they play the Giants off of a Week 14 bye. In the past, years ago, that would have been a horrific thing. And the league would have tried to avoid having a team play so many games against teams off of a bye. But this particular year and in recent years, since that 2011 CBA, where teams require their players to take 4 days off of practice, a lot of teams don't have the same advantage coming out of a bye that they once did. A lot of these teams are rusty, a little bit discombobulated, trying to get back into sync because they've been forced to take time away from the game. And as a result, it may not be quite as a bad thing for the Commanders to play those 3 games versus teams off of a bye as it once was in the past.
That was Warren Sharp over the weekend on the VSiN Weekend Morning Line. You can check out all of his analysis over at his website, sharpfootballanalysis.com. So, Matt, a lot of questions about Washington, right? Last year, win total 6.5. They blow past it. They go 12-5. So now the win total, depending on where you look, juice varies. Minus 25 to the over at DraftKings, minus 105 to the over here at Circa, but 9.5. A more challenging schedule. We talked. You heard Warren Sharp talk about the net rest disadvantage. They are the third worst in the league. However, thought it was an interesting point that Warren brought up, which is they play 3 teams off of byes. And those 3 teams, it's not like you get a massive advantage like you used to because you have to get 4 days off according to the NFLPA. So I thought that was an interesting note that he pointed out there. But overall, Matt, you mentioned Dallas maybe being a buy low candidate with a win total of 7.5. Is Washington a sell high candidate, or are you believing what is being cooked up in our nation's capital right now?
I'm somewhere in the middle. Last year, our buddy Chris Massaro talked me into it. I was really high on Jaden Daniels. I wasn't sure about the Commanders, a little bit lukewarm on Washington as a team, but he loved the Commanders over, so that pushed me over. It wasn't a hard sell. I think what you're trying to do when you're betting these win totals, Tim, a lot of times you want to look at the teams with the low win totals and get ahead of the curve, which I was on the Broncos last year. Played the Broncos over, definitely ahead of the curve on the Broncos. Commanders, similar situation. You're trying to find the teams on the rise with the low win totals. Now, second year, it's a lot tougher decision, right? Broncos win totals higher. Commanders win totals higher. They both have a little bit tougher schedules. And you're trying to figure out where's the value. Well, there's not much value left here. I'd probably lean over. This is shaded 9.5 over minus 125 just because I'm such a Jaden Daniels guy, and I think this Commanders team's pointed in the right direction. But also, what makes this decision a little bit tougher is I believe the Cowboys are going to be better. Don't forget, Commanders finished 12-5. They were 2 games behind the Eagles and 5 games ahead of the Cowboys. I do believe the Cowboys are going to be better. I also believe the Giants are going to be better at the bottom of that division. So what were the Commanders within the division 4-2 last year, I believe?
Yes.
That division it's toughening up because the Cowboys and the Giants are better at the bottom. When I look at the Commanders' schedule, I think 10-7 is what I would lean to, but Tim, it's not with a lot of conviction.
Yeah, right now DraftKings are favored in 12 games, underdogs in 5, but no underdog, I think, bigger than 4.5, I believe, is the biggest spread that they are heading into this upcoming season. Added Deebo Samuel, added Laramie Tunsil via trades this offseason, Matt. So we'll see what Washington has in store. Fourth quarter, Matt, about to get underway. The Oklahoma City Thunder up 10. Will they finish it off? We'll find out next. Also, best bets.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Up 11 in Oklahoma City. The Thunder have exploded here in this second half. They lead 82-71, 9:21 to go in the fourth quarter. Your live line, OKC minus 1150. If you think the T-Wolves can make the comeback, Matt, it is now out to 7-1, 84-73. Oklahoma City with the lead over the Minnesota Timberwolves. The T-Wolves led 48-40 with about a minute to go in the second quarter. The Thunder scored the final 4 points of the first half, and since then have dominated out of the gates here. So 84-73 as Chet Holmgren puts down a dunk there for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Chet, 11 points, Jalen Williams, 15, SGA, 23. We talked to Rick Kamala earlier in the show. He liked the under on SGA, which is trending that way, under 31.5. And he also liked the under on Ant, and Ant has 18 points. So right now, Rick's bets in decent shape, but still time to go, so hopefully those can come home for him.
Ant's total, Anthony Edwards' total was what, 25.5?
25.5, yep.
Paul Bovey's call on Naz Reid's probably not going to get there. I think he had Naz Reid over 10.5 points, and Reid started 0 for 8 from the field. He did just get a layup, and I think he's at the free throw line right now. But Naz Reid started 0 for 5 from 3 tonight, and he's got 3 points with 8.5 minutes to go. And that one, Paul Bovey also made a comment. He said Warren Sharp, if you watch that clip, he said Warren Sharp has Magnum P.I.'s mustache.
Warren Sharp does have a solid mustache game. That is true.
That's pretty good. That Magnum P.I. was another great TV show out of the past. I was talking about Fantasy Island and Cheers. You just don't make TV shows like that anymore. There he is. Look at that stash of Warren Sharp. Huh?
That's a good mustache. He's always had the mustache. I've known him personally for, I don't know, about 6 or 7 years. We used to have him in my show in D.C. He would come in studio when I did the NBC Sports gambling show, and he's always had the mustache.
It's not a fake stick-on mustache?
I don't think it's fake. I mean, I don't know. I never went over and tried to pluck the to pluck it there. Ever grown a mustache there, Matt?
No. I mean, I could probably grow one in about a week if I wanted to. I'd try it.
I want you to go on vacation and grow a mustache.
You know who's got a great mustache? Brett McMurphy, America's College Football Insider.
Sure does.
He's got a great stash. I think Paul Bovey should grow a stash. Bovey kind of looks like Warren Sharp.
I can see it.
That stash, right? Probably look younger.
86-75 right now as Anthony Edwards misses a 3, and Julius Randle, he's had a pretty good game here tonight. Julius Randle has, as right now, the Thunder trying to put the finishing touches on the T-Wolves. Julius Randle, 22 points, 6 boards tonight, 5 of 6 from 3, Matt, for Julius Randle. And Anthony Edwards, 5 of 13, 18 points, minus 14 on the floor.
Edwards is going to have to, I've used this phrase a lot talking about Jalen Brunson. Edwards is going to have to be more of an alpha dog if the T-Wolves are going to win this series. He's 5 for 13 from the field. He's just not doing enough in this game, Tim. You got to go out and try to take over the game when you're a player like Anthony Edwards, and he's not doing that tonight. And that's one of he's lucky that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not doing that on the other side. SGA has 23 points. He's 7 for 22 and 0 for 4 from 3. The two stars are not really taking over this game. We have a 9-point lead, we now have an 11-point lead, 88-77, OKC over Minnesota.
All right, quick update from the ice. No rally in Raleigh. 5-2 is the score. The Panthers lead the Carolina Hurricanes, and the total has gone over. And at one point, Matt, you could have gotten around plus 115 to the over in this one. It closed minus 20 to the under, so plus money was out there for the over, and it hit with pretty relative ease. 5-2 the score right now. Minute and change to go. The Carolina Hurricanes were the favorite tonight. They are going to fall to the Florida Panthers, and the Panthers will move to a pretty significant series favorite. They were minus 130 to win this series, despite being an underdog tonight, and they are going to go up 1-0 in this series.
I don't think there's any doubt that the Florida Panthers heard Adam Burke and Tim Murray pick against the Panthers tonight on the pregame show, and they came out with a bunch of fire and motivation.
How dare that ginger-headed jabroni pick against us?
We have 7 minutes to go in Oklahoma City, 90-77. Thunder on top, now 91-77. Tim, I'm not saying history is going to repeat itself, but remember game 1 of the series against Denver? OKC led by about 9 with a little under 2 minutes to go. And lost the game on that Aaron Gordon three-pointer. I don't think that's going to happen tonight. Just don't see the life in this T-Wolves offense.
Yeah, which is surprising considering they're the well-rested team, right, Matt? Oklahoma City played on Sunday afternoon.
Day and a half of rest, basically, right?
And they lead by 14 right now over the Minnesota Timberwolves. 91-77. SGA getting close to that player prop, which is 31.5. He's at 26. He's been to the free throw line 12 times tonight. He has 10 of 12 from the free throw line. 26, 8 assists for SGA, Matt. All right, Matt, let's get to some best bets. We both have some series plays on Knicks and Pacers. You also added a college football bet to your futures portfolio. So let's hit your best bets. As always, our best bets brought to you by G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN.
All right, let's go. Let's start with the NBA. So we go see Pacers Knicks game 1 on Wednesday night. Tim, you and I won't be here, but I've got 3 plays on this series. I'm probably not going to play game 1. But I've got Pacers Knicks over 5.5 games at minus 170. So let's say it goes 6. You've got the same bet.
Yep.
I've got Knicks in 7 at 4-1 odds plus 400. And I bet the Knicks in the series minus 145. Looks like the best price out there in the market right now. Knicks in the series, Knicks in 7, and the series go over 5.5 games. That's the way I'm playing it. I'm pretty confident the Knicks are going to win this series. Jalen Brunson, I believe, is going to be the difference. Jalen Brunson, the fact that the Pacers are a little bit soft in the middle. A year ago, I don't think the Knicks could take advantage of that. Now you've got Karl Anthony Towns. Hopefully he shows up in this series. Mitchell Robinson. I do think that if the Pacers have a weakness, at times they can look like a really efficient offensive team. They can shoot the lights out.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little bit soft in the middle and not very good on the defensive end of the floor, and I think the Knicks can take advantage of that. And Jalen Brunson, the point guard, I've got a little bit more belief in. I'm going to say the Knicks win it in 7, unlike a year ago when they lost Game 7 to the Pacers at the Garden.
Yeah, and same bet, minus 170 to the over 5.5 games. I think I'll probably go game by game in this series, see how it's playing out. But I would be surprised. Paul Bovey wouldn't, but I would be surprised if this isn't a longer series. So Game 6, Game 7. I would love a Game 7. The NBA would love a Game 7. Madison Square Garden, they are in this series, this rivalry that has seen each other play each other 9 times in the postseason. season. So my best bet, Matt, for this series is over 5.5 games. Price still available, -170 to the over there at DraftKings.
Also, I did make a Heisman Trophy bet. First, I don't like to spray bets all over the board in the Heisman. I might make 2 or 3 total. I did bet Arch Manning last night at 8-1. Arch, I believe, is going to be a big upgrade for Texas over Quinn Ewers. Longhorns open the season at Ohio State. If Texas pulls that upset, don't forget the Buckeyes are going to be breaking in a new quarterback as well. Texas pulls that upset, and Manning plays well. He's going to be about 250, 3-1 favorite to win the Heisman. I took the 8-1 on Arch. All the reports I've read about him in the offseason, very impressive, way ahead of where he was a year ago. And most NFL evaluators believe he would be the number 1 pick in the draft. I'm believing the hype on Arch Manning, let's put it that way. So that's one bet I've made. DJ Lagway, the quarterback of Florida, tempts me too when you're talking about a longer shot. Yeah. I might look at DJ Lagway. And again, Texas plays at Florida, so that's going to be a big game in the SEC. But Tim, where can we find a college football podcast here at VSiN? You and I do it every week during the season. You have been doing some off-season podcasts.
Yeah, we got Bruce Feldman on this week. That episode is out now wherever you get your podcasts. And Matt, we will have Matt Grill. We'll be talking about all the lines that they put out there at DraftKings, any movement that they've seen. So a best bet for you on Arch Manning. I already have a Clemson to win the ACC bet. We gave that out on the show, I think, at +160. As always, folks, our best bets brought to you by our friends at G-Bank. Get the G-Bank Visa Signature Card today. Most credit cards treat sportsbook and gaming transactions as cash advances. That's even when you put your own money on the card. G-Bank treats gaming transactions as purchases, so you're saving up to 3 to 5% on cash advance fees on gaming transactions right there. Also with G-Bank, you're earning 1% cashback rewards on all eligible sportsbook and gaming transactions and 2% cashback rewards on eligible purchases. Apply now, vsin.com/Gbank, vsin.com/Gbank. Carolina Panthers, gosh darn it, Florida Panthers, 5-2 win over the Carolina Hurricanes. Over in that one, and the dog gets the victory. The Thunder, Matt, up 12 on the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. Hoops Peterson, he's got you covered next right here on VSiN.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.